Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, dependent, of course, on when and where you are joining us from. This is A Day in the Life of, a podcast that's been brought to you by the SDR leaders of EMEA. I'm Jordan Abbott, your host. In this podcast, we speak to various SDR leaders about their role, how they get the best out of their teams, their tech stack, and any trends that they're seeing that will influence the above. Now, today we are joined by Daniel Raj, Head of Business Development at Zscaler. Dan, thank you very much for joining me. Did you want to take a minute to introduce yourself and share a little bit more?
Sure. Thank you, Jordan. Thank you for giving me this platform, first of all. I'll say hi to audience. Guys, I am Daniel Raj, goes by the name Dan Raj. I'm based out of India, Bangalore, which is a Silicon Valley of India. Though I'm born and brought up in Delhi, which is the capital of India. Currently, I'm heading sales development team for India and SAP countries at Zscaler. And if I talk about my team is spread across Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore. So these are three locations wherein we are spread across. Apart from that, I am in my entire career of more than 10 years, what I've done is just sales. So over to you.
Fantastic. It's great to hear someone that's just super passionate about sales. Really keen to hear a little bit more about your transition from an individual contributor into leadership.
All right. Well, to answer this, I'll just give a quick context over here. So I'm a strong believer of leaders are born. Why I say this? Because leaders requires a certain attitude. And that attitude is something born itself. So why I want to say this? Because I'll talk about the transition, but in my entire career since my childhood, whether it's schooling, it's college, whether it's my internship or my professional career right now, I've been a very small or big leadership projects, was given an opportunity to lead certain projects, certain teams here and there, wherein I had showcased and learned a lot of leadership skills over there. But if I talk about the actual transition happened just 4 or 5 years back, where I joined the company by the name of Innovator, which is a health tech organization, wherein as it was an early stage startup, right, I was given an opportunity to lead and form a team. So it was like I was thrown in the pool wherein I didn't know how to swim. That's where exactly my leadership journey started, wherein whatever I've learned through my mentors, through my peers, I implemented that. And that's how I transitioned into a leader.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant to hear. I'm sure by being thrown in the deep end, there were some pitfalls, some lessons learned, shall we say. What are those common pitfalls or common mistakes that you see leaders making that perhaps a new leader or that you'd recommend a new leader should avoid at all costs?
Agree. Obviously, when you're a first-time leader, you tend to make a lot of mistakes, right? And something that I see or something that I have also done as a mistake, right? That you usually as a leader, right? You try to do everything by yourself, right? You try to micromanage. That is an advice that I would give to people, that if you're a first-time leader, right? You need to trust people. You need to delegate people the task. I need to empower your team so that they can do things by themselves. I know you become the leader, you transition into a leader because you were excelling as an individual contributor, but that doesn't mean that you will keep on doing the same thing. As a leader, the first thing is to delegate and trust people and empower people so they can become better, right? Another mistake that I see people make, they fade away from taking feedback or seeking a feedback. They shy away. I mean, they think that, I don't know why they shy away, but feedback is something as a leader that you should keep on seeking from the peers, from your team, from everyone, so that you can evolve and grow every day. So these are major 2 advices that I have for our new leaders that they should focus on.
Yeah, I love that. I think it's a real sort of mentality and perspective shift from that IC mentality where you are responsible, you do everything, to that of a leader where rather than just trying to get the best out of your team, as you said, you're empowering your team to do their best work, which is awesome. Now, on that point, do you have any go-to resources for coaching and developing your teams?
Yeah. So ideally, when someone asks me a question like this, like coaching and development, people usually ask me, can you suggest me some books, right? But being an SDR leader, right, one thing that I would say, the SDR job is evolving every day. So you cannot rely on books. Maybe the books which is written on sales or SDR role, right? Those may be outdated or those are not evolving over the period of time. So one thing that I would recommend, right, to all the people who really wanted to grow in this particular role is to rely more on the research papers available in the market, like research paper, shared by Harvard Business Reviews, Gartner, Forrester. That's the way wherein you can see, I mean, there are a lot of research paper which talks about what are the current objections, what are the current market things which is going on, what are the struggles in the cold calls, what are the struggles or challenges as the SDR role. That is something which I would recommend, which will actually give you the live update on what's going on and how people are tackling those challenges. Apart from that, there are various simulations available in the market, which actually, give you the idea of, okay, this kind of a situation is there, how you will tackle it. So that's the recommendation that I have from a resources perspective. Apart from that, I'm a avid user of a LinkedIn, and I've seen LinkedIn Learning is an amazing platform if you really want to do a skill development. One thing that I like about the LinkedIn Learning, the AI part of it. So the kind of skill set that you add in your profile or the skill set that you want to develop, it gives you a training which is required to develop that skill set. So LinkedIn Learning, Coursera is something like this, which is always available. And yes, for sure, podcast. I am a fan of a podcast. Every day, there are various podcasts, Google podcasts available over there. Follow some of the other podcasts over there, where you can learn from the people, what they're talking, from their experiences. That's amazing. Peer-to-peer learning and a mentorship is something that I would recommend for the SDRs.
Yeah.
And if I say from a leader, right, I think from a leadership principles perspective, one book that I would like to recommend for all the SDR leaders around the world, there's a book which is written by Simon Sinek. The book name is Leader, Eat, Last. It has a lot of principles and values which talks about what leaders should do and what leaders should not do. So that's my recommendation.
Yeah, it sort of plots the map, so to speak. I love that. I haven't read it myself, but it is being added to the reading list following this section. Nice. So it seems like one of those core principles is just keeping your finger on the pulse, whether that be via the research papers, whether that be via peer-to-peer network, whether that be via new books, podcasts, whatever it may be. I'm sure that as a result of that, you're seeing some trends emerging. Are there any that are really exciting you at the minute?
Yeah. So, Jordan, I mean, today only in the morning, I wrote an entire big article on LinkedIn, which talks about the evolving job architecture for the SDR, right? So, I mean, this is an exciting topic for me because I've been doing a lot of research on this. If I talk about the SDR role 5 years ago, right, and SDR role right now, it has completely evolved. People used to conceive SDRs earlier, just like a lead generation machine. Right now, if I talk about the SDRs, they are gate openers, they are deal shapers, and they're the secret business behind any of the business growth, right? Some of the examples that I can say how SDR roles are evolved. SDRs nowadays are on field, right? I mean, earlier was the days, it was an inside sales job. You just sit, make calls, send an email, your work is done. No, the expectation is prospects are bored, right? They don't see emails anymore. They want to see some newness. They like when people are reaching out to them in their office or meeting a prospect in the conferences and event. So that's an evolving of an SDR expectation from a job perspective. Other thing, there is more collaboration. Earlier, it was like a job where an SDRs do their own calls, do their own things, and it's done. Now it's a more collaborative job. You need to connect with partners. You need to connect with customer success team. You need to connect with sales engineering team. And of course, your account executive team. So it's more like a collaboration wherein you can add value. Like, for example, from a partner business side, you need to think, SDR should need to think how they can, together with the partner, can get an intelligence on an account so they can have a joint strategy. So this is how the role has evolved, and expectation from an SDR is more and more. And that's how SDRs are adding more value to the business now.
Yeah. You've summarized it so perfectly. I don't have anything to add. It makes the role so much more exciting rather than the monotony of, as you mentioned, sort of 5 years ago. Now, of course, with that sort of change, I guess that's going to influence the support that each individual needs. So how do you ensure that you're able to provide that support, that guidance, that coaching as the role transitions?
Yeah, I think from a role expectation is increasing, coaching SDRs on advanced skill set is important. Before a coaching, I think it's especially for the leaders, they also need to think they are hiring a right set of leaders, because I think as the SDRs that we require in the market or in the industry right now is a more seller mindset kind of in people, right? So people with a seller mindset, and the job of a leader becomes, you need to train them more than just a basic. When I say more, that is how we can also train SDRs so they also know how they can pitch a solution or a product. For example, if tomorrow AE is not there, business will not stop, right? We need to keep on going. So we need to train SDRs, they're ready for the pitching, right? SDRs now play a crucial role because champion building in every deal is utmost important, and champion building starts at the first conversation itself. So, and champion building is not easy. It takes a lot of reiteration, a lot of skill set development, right? So building, training SDRs on how to build a champion, whether it's a business champion or technical champion, that kind of skill set training is required. Apart from that, earlier it used to be like this: SDR has opened up the gate and their job is done. No, the job is not done. They have to be at the part of the process until the closure happens. That means they need to keep on prospecting. They need to keep on mapping more and more people. So prospecting doesn't stop over here. If they're mapped up CFO, right, the next job is how we can map up the CIO or CISO, right? So that's the part of mapping more and more people so that we can broaden the solution, right? We are just not selling a one use case. We can sell the entire platform of an organization. And yes, SDR has to keep on looking, right, how they can make sure if a particular opportunity, right, is stuck in a particular stage, we as the leader has to train an SDR so they would know what else they can do, what extra they can do, so this opportunity can move to the next stage and the sales cycle can be shortened. So this is the kind of skill set development that is required, which we as a leader has to work on these nitty-gritties. So SDRs are up to the mark as per the market requirement.
Yeah, I love that. Now, outside of what we've just spoken about, we've very much focused on the role itself. Are there any wider trends that you are seeing to influence the sales landscape? And that could be, buyer behaviors as well.
I think the wider trend that I'm majorly seeing, which is evolving, is the collaboration piece. Earlier, it was not that much collaborative from an SDR side, but now the expectation is to be more collaborative. It's no more a job that you sit within your team, do your calling, do your list of calling emails, and it's done. You need to evolve, collaborate more. You need to know what is your AE strategy, because it's no more just AE's territory, it's your territory too, right? You need to know a market trend from your research team. You need to know from your customer success team that what is exactly customer is expecting, how we have closed a particular customer in the particular market or industry. We can replicate that same in the new prospecting strategy. So collaboration at most is important at this moment. The more and more we collaborate with different teams in the ecosystem, for example, partners, right? If partners are involved in the very first conversation, data says, right, the sales cycle is shorter because partner has a trust in the industry, in the market. So SDR plays a crucial role over there, right? Or if in the partner itself, right, if SDRs are also collaborating more with the tech alliances team, right? Prospects really wanted, right, to talk to a people who's basically in their tech ecosystem. For example, if a prospect is using Amazon, and if we are connecting with the AWS team, SDR can identify that and can involve AWS team into the conversation. That way the trust building thing is done. So more and more collaboration makes the sales cycle more short.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And I guess it's that move to a unified go-to-market team. What sort of accountability sits on the individual SDR to take the initiative to build those relationships? And what responsibility sits with the organization or the leader to broker those relationships?
So that's a good question, Jordan, right? I think we all know that SDRs usually are pretty young people, right? They may not know how to collaborate, what to collaborate, or where to take most out of the different teams or resources available. We being a leader are the light or direction for them. We need to tell them, teach them, right, how you can get most out of this particular team, or how this team has given the most value to the other teams or other SDRs. So we being a leader, we need to show them the direction, right, and bridge the gap whichever they identify over there. That's the play that we can play and make most out of it.
Nice. I'm conscious of time, Dan. I have thoroughly enjoyed the conversation so far. I've been super insightful. The last question from me: are there any tools at the moment that your team have started to use that have significantly improved their efficiency or performance?
Yes, I am a strong believer and user of AI tools available in the market. And the one AI tool that I will highly speak on is Momentum.ai. This tool is amazingly amazing. I think one challenge that we had in our organization that while our SDRs are talking to the prospect, we really wanted to know what set of questions and qualifications they are doing, because every meetings, every opportunities that my SDRs generate, those are highly qualified. But we do wanted to give a visibility to the entire ecosystem, leadership. What SDR used to do earlier, they used to make a notes of it. But as we are all human, we tend to forget some of the other pointers. So what exactly this tool does, it integrates with your Zoom, right? And it's be there as a bot, captures the conversation and edit it in such a way so it gives you the meaningful output out of it. So while you set up this tool, they ask you your product line, your company portfolio. So they give you the information related to what suits your business. So the conversation happened with the prospect. It gives you the action item with the later. This is what you have identified. They've asked the use case. As per the use case, this is the product line, suits them. This is the next step. And it also gives you an automated generated email, a thank you email, which you can send it to the prospect. And it is automatically linked with Salesforce. So all this information are getting captured directly in the Salesforce and making life easier for the SDRs.
Perfect. I'm going to check that out. I'm going to check that out as soon as we jump off. Dan, it has been an absolute pleasure. I've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. I will let you go and enjoy the rest of your Friday as you approach the weekend. Thank you again. And to everyone listening, until next time.